New audio has surfaced as part of a lawsuit that accuses Christian Holmes, Sean Diddy Combs' son, of sexual assault.
I've had clients describe MDC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
Audio has surfaced as part of a lawsuit that accuses Christian Holmes, Sean Diddy Holmes' son, of sexual assault. Clients describe MDC as hell as the worst conditions they've been in. All right, let's dive right into it, because things are getting wilder by the damn the Combs family drama. And honestly, no one saw this coming. You think you heard it all? Well, buckle up. Because see, Diddy and his family are caught up in one of the messiest, most shocking scandals we've seen.
Stacey Schneider. And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a...
So, what's the latest? Well, just a few days...
What's the latest? Well, just a few days ago, Diddy got snatched up by the feds, and trust us, this isn't your regular celebrity scandal. The full indictment documents have just been released, and let's just say the family passports aren't the only thing that's been confiscated. According to reports, the feds took everything Diddy's homes not raided in New York and Miami. And guess what they even say is the passport of his kids? Yes, you heard that right. Diddy's son's daughters, and even his own mother had to hand over their passports to the authorities. And while Diddy's daughters might be too young to be caught up in all this mess, all eyes are on Justin, and Christian is too grown
And is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being. They have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
dodge the feds. And honestly, who can blame them if you're caught up in something as serious as this? You'd probably be looking for a way out too. But the question everyone's asking is, are they guilty? And if so, guilty of what? Asking is, are they guilty? And if so, guilty of what exactly?
The evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those two raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named freak-offs.
Now, let's rewind a bit, because this whole mess didn't just come out of nowhere. We all remember when Cassie, Diddy's ex, filed that lawsuit last year, right?
Now, let's rewind a bit, because this whole mess didn't just come out of nowhere. We all remember when Cassie, Diddy's ex, filed that lawsuit last year, right? That's when everything really started to unravel, but nobody, and we mean nobody, expected things to spiral out of control like this. At first, we were just talking about civil lawsuits, and sure, they were serious. But criminal charges, that's a whole different ball game when the feds swooped in and raided Diddy's homes, grabbing video footage and more. That's when everyone knew this wasn't just another celebrity scandal that would quietly fade away. This was about to explode. The real turning point came when the feds got their hands on hours and hours of footage from Diddy's security cameras. And y'all, if even half the rumors about what's on those tapes are true, Diddy and his crew are in some serious...
So, it's just crazy. Just read.
Let's talk about the tapes for a second, because this is...
Let's talk about the tapes for a second, because this is where Justin and Christian get dragged into the mess. Apparently, Justin's name came up because of what some folks are calling his involvement in organizing, let's just say, some very shady activities. According to a lawsuit filed by one of Diddy's former employees, Lil Rod, Justin was allegedly charged of finding people participate in what's being called freak-offs. You can fill in the blanks, but basically this is part of the investigation into Diddy's case, and it's not looking good for Justin. And the last thing he wants is to end up behind bars with his father. Is it true? Well, that's what the feds are trying to figure out. But if Justin really was involved, he might be facing the same charges as his dad. As for Christian, things aren't much better. He's facing accusations of his own, and they're just as serious. One of the lawsuits mentions an incident that allegedly went down on a family holiday last year. A woman named Grace O'Mara came forward claiming she was assaulted by a Christian while working as a stewardess in the Combs family. Yet, according to her, this wasn't some wild party. It was supposed to be a family-friendly event, but Christian allegedly crossed the line. Grace claims that while she was just doing her job, Christian made some very inappropriate advances. She even says that after a brief altercation, she managed to fight him off, but not before being cornered again. Later that...
Now, so what is next? Is he going to be in jail in this facility until the trial begins? Is there a chance he could, get moved earlier than that?
As of this moment, as of this hour, as of today, yes. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be appealing this thing next to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn the judge's order here to try and get him actually released.
So now
with these kind of allegations against both Justin and Christian, You can see why rumors are flying that the two of them might be trying to skip town. The feds are already looking closely at their involvement. And it wouldn't be the first time someone in a case like this tried to disappear before things got worse. It's also worth noting that Justin and Christian both showed up in court to support their dad when this whole thing first started, but ever since then, crickets, they've gone radio. Silent, and now the rumor mill is spinning with whispers that they're on the real, is spinning with whispers that
the reaction, because that's how I always feel when I see situations like this. And then there's this weird sense of grief, because it is Diddy, right? Diddy is a hip-hop hero. He's an ordinary person who did extraordinary things. To sit here and act like the man wasn't a huge part of our upbringing is a damn lie. So there's this weird sense of grief. Like another one of our heroes has ruined their legacy, and it's their own fault because of poor choices?
But wait.
But wait, it gets even juicier, the fact that the authorities took all the family members' passports, including the younger daughters, has people scratching their heads. What do the kids have to do with this? Sure, they're probably not directly involved, but it raises a whole bunch of questions. Why are the feds seizing passports from kids? Some people are saying it might have to do with offshore accounts, and that's where things get really interesting. If D was trying to hide his money overseas, maybe. His kids' passports were part of the plan. It's all speculation at this point. But let's be real, it wouldn't be
He don't know. You pay those lawyers to know. Those lawyers know what he's going to beat, and those lawyers know what he ain't going to beat.
Now back to Justin and Christian. The fans are split on this one. Some are saying that Diddy's sons are just victims of a situation dragged into their father's mess without having much of a choice, but others aren't so sure. Let's be honest. If these allegations about Justin being involved in setting up some of these shady situations are true, it's going to be hard for him to play the victim card. And Christian, if the story about the incident on the yacht holds up in court, that's another serious blow. Fans are already expressing their opinions online, and some of them are straight up calling for both Justin and Christian to be held accountable. It's one thing to support your father in tough times, but it's another thing entirely to be involved in the same sketchy behavior. One fan summed it up perfectly, saying Diddy's sons can be both victims and perpetrators. You can mourn for the little boys who didn't have a choice while holding the men they are. Today, accountable is a valid point. Justin and Christian were born into a life of fame and privilege, but at some point they made their own decisions. And if those decisions were to follow in their father's footsteps, they're going to have to face the consequences just like anyone else. And then there's a whole issue of why the daughters' passports were taken while Justin and Christian supposedly still have theirs. It's raising some eyebrows, to say the least. One fan pointed out, why do the women have to suffer while the men get to plot and scheme? It's a fair question, especially since Diddy's daughters are far too young to be involved in any of this. The fact that their passports were seized suggests that the authorities are being
this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
At this point, things
aren't looking good for anyone involved, but the real question is, how far will this investigation go? And are Justin and Christian really on the run? Or is this just another rumor in a sea of speculation? With the way things are unfolding, it's only a matter of time before we get more answers. But one thing for sure, this is just the beginning of what's going to be a long, messy, and likely very public legal battle for the entire Combs family. And let's not forget, the feds are playing for keeps. This isn't just about Diddy reputation anymore. This is about a full-scale criminal investigation that's pulling in everyone around him. If Justin and Christian were
industry talk, there's a lot of people who have worked for him. There's been stories around, which is, not necessarily unusual.
Now, if you thought
the situation couldn't get any messier after hearing about Justin and Christian's alleged involvement and all those passports being confiscated, just wait. The next chapter in the Sega dives even deeper into the legal disaster that Diddy is now facing. And trust us, it's not just some small-time case. We're talking about a full-scale federal investigation with serious charges that have left everyone wondering if Diddy's empire is about to come crashing down for good. Let's start with the fact that Diddy's attempt to post bail was an absolute disaster. We mean this man is one of the wealthiest, most influential figures in the entertainment industry. And yet even that couldn't save him. This time you would think that throwing millions of dollars at the problem would be enough to secure his release. But the courts were not having it. The judge looked at everything Diddy was offering and
wake up every day and just volunteer lies. Diddy, how are we supposed to believe anything that comes out of your mouth? And furthermore, why should we not believe the rumors of things going in your mouth when you out here volunteering bold-faced lies? You would still be lying to us right now if it was no video. You didn't even apologize to Cassie in the video.
So what exactly went down in court? Well, according to sources,
said, nope, you're staying right where you are. In true 11. So what exactly went down in court? Well, according to sources, Diddy's legal team put together a massive bail package, $50 million. To be exact, yeah, that's right, he offered $50 million to get out of custody. But that wasn't even the wildest part. Diddy also offered to put up several properties as collateral, including his mansion on Star Island in Miami. This is the same property that's worth close to $48 million. And just a few months ago, Diddy...
Any possibility that he walks away clean from this, that everything is dropped and he faces no charges or any prison time?
Not impossible. I mean, anything is possible, but I don't see that happening. I see him kind of going the path of R. Kelly, where again, for so many decades, he was able to act with impunity and just, with harming so many.
Now, what's interesting about all this is that Diddy didn't...
Now, what's interesting about all this is that Diddy didn't just stop at his own properties. He also threw in the homes of his family members. Can you imagine his mother's home in Miami was part of the deal, along with homes connected to other family members? But even with all that on the table, the judge...
denying him bail.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
First of all,
there's the fact that the authorities believe Diddy is a flight risk with all the money he has at his disposal and the international connections he's built over the years. They're worried that if he gets released, he could easily flee the country and disappear for good. One of the major concerns is that Diddy has access to offshore accounts and other financial assets that can help him fund a life on the run. Some fans have even speculated that this is exactly why the feds took the passports from his family members. One theory floating around is that Diddy's kids' names are linked to these offshore accounts, and the feds...
More relationships than not, it was a mutual decision. Right. And if not, then I was like, it's done.
But it's not just about the money.
The judge also pointed concerns about witness tampering and obstruction of justice. Let's be real, Diddy's been in the game for a long time, and he's built a massive network of people who are loyal to him. Prosecutors argue that if Diddy were released on bail, there's a very real chance that he could intimidate witnesses or use his influence to mess with the case. And if the rumors about what's on those SE tapes are true, there are probably...
This mess.
Is he controlling? Yes, he is. Will he put his hands on a female? Yes, he will. Would he put his hands on a male producer or anything? Yes, he will.
In fact, sources say that some of Diddy's closest associates are already flipping on him in exchange for immunity. That's right, people in Diddy's inner circle are reportedly turning their backs on him to save themselves from going down with the ship. One source familiar with the investigation even hinted that there could be more indictments on the way. Right now, Diddy is the only defendant named in the case, but if more people start talking, that could change very quickly. And if Justin and Christian are indeed involved, as some of these rumors suggest, it's only a matter of time before they get dragged into court. As well, speaking of Diddy's sons, this whole bail situation also shined a light on just how much they might be tied up in their father's affairs. Remember, Diddy's offer to post bail wasn't just about throwing money at the problem. He was willing to hand over the passports of several family members, including his sons and even his young daughters. This has led some fans to wonder if Justin and Christian might have been involved in some financial dealings that the feds are investigating. Could they be linked to those offshore accounts? It's all speculation at this point. But it's hard to ignore the fact that the authorities are taking every precaution to make sure Diddy...
For the type that they want to give him is if he start giving them something.
Now, let's talk about the bigger picture here. Diddy has been one of the most powerful figures in the music industry. For decades, he's built an empire, from Bad Boy Records to his clothing line to his many business ventures. But over the years, his reputation has taken hit after hit, with accusations and rumors swirling around him for what feels like forever. Whether it's shady business practices or personal scandals, Diddy has always found a way to come out on top. But this time, things are different. This isn't just about some civil lawsuits that could be settled quietly with a big payout. This is a criminal investigation, and it's not going away anytime soon.
And how they spoke out, they said they're participating with the government. So let's see how this works out.
The fact that Diddy's bail offer was rejected so quickly speaks volumes about how serious this case is. The judge essentially said that no amount of money or property could guarantee that Diddy would stick around and face the charges against him. And let's be clear, those charges are no joke. We're talking about everything from racketeering to organized crime. Some reports even suggest that this could turn into a massive case, which would be a nightmare for
original lawsuit. It really did open the floodgates, as you said, because it detailed almost 2 decades of hidden coercion.
The question now is what's next for the Combs family with Diddy stuck behind bars and his son's rumored to be on a run. The whole situation is spiraling out of control. And the more we learn about it, the worse it looks for everyone involved. It's almost as if Diddy's entire empire is crumbling right before our eyes. And there's nothing he can do to stop it. AMS Online have been quick to react to the latest developments, with many expressing their shock at just how far things have gone. One fan commented Diddy thought he could buy his way out of this one, but the judge just told him his money doesn't mean anything in a case like this. Another added that the feds are taking the passports of his entire family. You know they're not playing around. This is serious. But while fans are divided on whether they feel sorry for Diddy, there seems to be a consensus when it comes to his daughters. People are genuinely upset that the younger members of the family are being dragged into this mess, especially when they likely had no idea what was going on. Why are the girls suffering for their dad's mistakes? One fan asked they don't deserve this. The reality is, though, that this case has grown into something much bigger than just Diddy. His entire family is now under scrutiny, and with every new detail that comes out, the situation becomes more and more complicated. And it doesn't help that
I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
as people in Diddy's own camp are reportedly turning on him if even half of these rumors are true. Diddy's in for a long and painful legal battle that could drag on for years. In True 19, as you wait for more updates, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. Diddy's lawyers are likely scrambling behind the scenes trying to figure out the next move. But with the feds closing in and more people coming forward with testimony, it's hard to see a way out for the once untouchable music mogul.
And I remember, like, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but, like, I felt like I was in the presence of his mom.
As watch as this legal drama continues to unfold, will Diddy manage to fight off these charges? Or is this the beginning of the end for one of the biggest names in the industry? And what role will his family play in all of this? As more details come to light, there are so many unanswered questions, and the tension is only building as we inch closer to what could be the biggest celebrity trial of the decade. With everything we've just uncovered, it's hard to believe the saga is far from over. The question on everyone's mind now is, will Diddy's sons Justin and Christian come forward and face the music, or are they really trying to slip away from the feds? And do you think Diddy's wealth and influence will be enough to save him, or is this the end of his reign? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.